Good night.
Good night to
Good
the
night once
Belizean people
again.
at home and abroad.
Uh,
Tonight on this for the first edition of Belizean Affair, we welcome back our virtual host, Mr. Roody. Also sitting with us tonight, as usual, is Mr. Leonard Brackett. As you know, tonight before we launch our program, there's a reading followed by the prayer. So let me go directly to our chairman for tonight, Mr. Wade, for that reading, after which they will do their self introductory. Mr. Wade.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Greg. It's a pleasure to be back. I'm feeling much better, and you know, thank Almighty for today. And like you said, Greg, we start our program as usual. I'll continue on Proverbs 10 to uh, um, 17, 10 to 20 says, a rebuke goes deeper into a man of understanding than 100 blows into a fool. An evil man seeks only rebellion, and a cruel messenger will be sent against him. Let a man meet a she bear robbed of her cubs rather than a fool in his folly. If anyone returns evil for good, evil will not depart from his house. The beginning of strife is like letting out water. So quit before the quarrel breaks out. He who justifies the wicked and and he who condemns the righteous are both alike an abomination to the Lord. Why should a fool have money in his hands to buy wisdom when he has no sense? A friend love at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. One who lacks sense gives a pledge and puts out security in the presence of his neighbor. Whoever loves transgression loves strife. He who makes his door high seeks destruction. A man of crooked heart does not discover good, and one with dishonest tongue falls into calamity. That's my reading for tonight. Leonard, you want to do a good word? Leonard, go ahead.
yes, sir. Just give me 1 second. Let me put this stuff on public so the rest of the people can tune into it live. No,
Thank you.
okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just give me 1 second. Let me no, I have it on delayed. uh Okay. Uh, I'm ready to offer my prayer.
Go
Divine
ahead.
loving Father, as we come before Thy presence once more, we pray that Thou mayest continue to be merciful unto us, our family members, our friends, and our country of Belize, its people and its leadership, and this country of the United States of America, its people and its leadership, and the rest of humanity. Thou knowest our hearts, our desires, even our most secret thoughts. Please continue to be merciful unto us. Please help us that we may be able to do that which is good and pleasing to you, and help us that we may be able to stay steadfast and work on behalf of our people, especially those who are marginalized. Continue to have mercy upon us now and always, for we ask these mercies in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you, Leonard. Greg. Tonight, tonight there's a
Nice music.
Yes, welcome again, people at home and abroad. I go straight to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you guys. And again, like I say, it's always a pleasure to be here sitting virtually with you guys, because we are the only one seems to be bringing truth to the nation, and as my motto, always, for some time now, I call a spade, and you know, when we hear, we call out the ills that's going on in our country, and we are the voice for the voiceless, and we are about people and nation, and we are very patriotic, love our country, love our people, voice of the poor and less fortunate. So, there's a lot going on, and time is, of an essence, so we go right into it. We've been listening lately, to the Prime Minister and his government. We have heard him said about, this Portico agreement, that, oh yeah, they were going to redo it. That's just a couple of months now, and it should have been done redo a long time ago. But it seems that they just did it lately here, and we will show to the nation, what they did, right? And then we want to see the actual change. What is it? What is it that they have changed? And we will voice our opinion on it, because it's our land, right? Belize is ours, not only for the rich and famous and for the party in power. No, Belize is for all Belizeans, and we all are taxpayers, and we all should have input in what's going on in our country. We should never be dormant in terms of, having the elected officials do unto us, just do unto us continuously, right? And then when some of us voice our opinion, we are being thrown under the bus, and we are the bad people, right? So I would kindly ask Greg to play that clip on the latest Portico legislation that they sat on lately.
Well, the protocol legislation, well, presently, I think they're still working on it and to see what can be done to be able to present to cabinet.
What's being done is this draft, still in the strikeout stage, but it shows the major thrust of the proposed legislation. The Belize Cruise Ship Docking Facility and Tourism Village Development Bill is created to provide for the development of a cruise port docking facility and tourism village, and to provide for certain exemptions and benefits, and for the levy of a cruise ship facility fee, normally what you'd call a head tax. The bill provides for a fiscal incentives order, which entitles the developer to large tax exemptions. But not any developer, one who meets the investment requirements, quote, of not less than $250 million, we assume US dollars. And how many proposed ports fit into that category? Presently, only one, Portico, whose investors say they propose to invest $350 million US dollars. And to get this precious fiscal incentives order, the developer must apply to the executive director of Beltrade, who will, if the project meets the requirements, submit a recommendation to the minister, who would then issue that fiscal incentives order. The order exempts the developer, its funders, and contractors from any taxes, duties, or imposts, and from what might be called future shocks. The most interesting clause is one that seeks to insulate the developer from what a future government, say one led by Shine Barrow, might do. It says, where tax laws may be amended and or enacted from time to time that contain any provisions, the implementation of which would directly, adversely affect the project's economic benefits under this act, the minister will ensure that the amended and or enacted tax laws shall not apply and have no force or effect with respect to the project. retroactive to the date of such amended or enacted tax law. It's basically an immunity from the democratic process, guaranteeing the developer that a future government won't move the goalposts as Shine Barrow has threatened explicitly to do. As regards the head tax, the agreement refers to a facility fee of not less than $7, which will be shared between the developer and the government of Belize, with $2 going to the developer and the remaining $5 going to the government to be distributed among various funds and departments. The developers laud this proportional breakdown as a boon for Belize because they say they will receive 1.2 million guests per year and say that the amount then remitted to government will be $6 million annually.
Wow, wow, wow. So, gentlemen, people at home and abroad, what can you take out of that you just heard, right? It seems that this is a group of hyenas,
Kleptocrats.
kleptocrats, right? That just saw a golden opportunity, and they have the right minister in power and the right party in power and the right pencil to, paper to push so that they get what they want. Now, guys, as for me, I would like to know the players, I would like to know the players because we know how this whole Portico deal started, right? Which in my view, that Mr. Contreras should have been held accountable and the UDP government should have held accountable and the prime minister of this country should have been held accountable, right? That's in my view, right? In when it all started, right? But this man is a good negotiator, he's a good businessman, right? This prime minister, right? So he in a hurry with this deal now because he got the majority, super majority, and everything will sail smooth down the road. And then he's already putting in a clause that if Mr. Shine Barrow, God forbid, he come to get power in this country, that he cannot touch nothing from this deal that this PUP government is doing, right? So, guys, for me, like I say, I've always called this guy an outright liar, right, to the Belizean people, and a scoundrel. That's the way I feel about this prime minister and his government, right? You could hate me, you could do anything you want or say anything you want to say about Roody Wade, right? But I have the God-given right. I'm a Belizean and a taxpayer and a person that exercise my God-given rights. And no one will take that away from me. No one on this earth. So, guys, what do you think about that you just heard? I mean, we've been talking about it, but
Go ahead, Mr. Brackett.
This seems to be the end of it. Go ahead, Leonard.
I'd like to defer for right now. I need to.
The thing is too big, right?
I can't afford
Right.
to bust a vein in my head right now. So I'd like to defer.
Well, I call a spade, I don't bite my tongue. Never.
Mr. Chairman, let's keep it on the real. The law the government is trying to thrust through is unconstitutional because it is not democratic when it comes to open tenure. You are passing a law aiming specifically at one set of individuals who wants to build a cruise port. And I will also say this. I use this and many a platform about ministers and government telling on themselves, if you are passing this law, how ludicrous it will be that if 10 cruise ship company comes to Belize and want to do business, it will be retroactive for all of them, including tax break, and no future government can do nothing about it. That is phony baloney. With that said, let me go to my cousin.
Thank you very much, Greg, for the opportunity. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for being allowed the opportunity to participate in this forum. Touching on your last point, Greg, the Constitution requires. Well, first of all, let me stop. Let me change up. Any elected government of Belize, regardless of their numbers in parliament, once they meet the first threshold of majority, is empowered with a certain amount of authority to act, not for themselves, for any investors, or for their cronies, but to act first and foremost judiciously, ethically, morally, professionally, and in all aspects of whatever is required of a government on behalf of its people. First and foremost. That's one point. If that particular government, whichever government it is, that is elected, having passed the first threshold of majority, then under the weak constitution as stipulated, if they can reach a threshold of 2/3, they are able to make amendments to certain sections of our constitution under that authorization. If, as in the case of this particular government, they can reach as far as 2/3, not 2/3, 75%, which is a little bit more than 2/3. 2/3 is 66%, 66.66, continuously. So that's a little bit less than 75%. If they can reach the 75% threshold, it means that they have then the authority vested in them and the rights authorized to them to change just about any and every other possible sections of our constitution, except Section 2, Part 2, Section 1, and Section 2 of our constitution. If they wish to change anything beyond those criteria, such as, for example, what the present government is trying to do, which is to change the whole constitution, eviscerate the whole constitution under the guise that they are attempting to let the people decide that for themselves, when they have already decided that, and that's what they're after. If God forbid that the people should allow themselves to be used to overthrow our present system of governance in favor of the Republican system of governance that these bunch of knuckleheads are trying to achieve, as I said before, we don't even know that dog don't eat the supper by the time we catch on to what's going on. Or at least I shouldn't even pluralize that statement. I should have, because I don't include myself in that particular group. I know what the hell is going on, And I am trying to sound the alarm constantly. After the fact, I'm being vindicated. But after the fact, when the deed is done, it's not good enough. Not being vindicated in what I espouse or what I say is not what this process is about. This process is about having our leaders of our country do justice by us and not by anybody else just because they get only something on the side. That's not what they ask us to give us or to give our governance powers to them to do. So the present government under Mr. Briceño was caught with his hands in the cookie jar. He went to the Congress and tore up the document, stipulating or intimating them, or sleight of hand then, to give the public the impression that he was against it and that it was all dead and gone. As a matter of fact, when people kept on asking him, why is it that he persists behind the scene to go and try and negotiate with these people on behalf of Puerto Rico, when he is supposed to not be a part of Puerto Rico, and he is not supposed to be taking our governance power and subordinate it to Puerto Rico's interests, unless he is a part of the Puerto Rico structure and having control or captured our governance process, that he will then use that process to facilitate Puerto Rico bringing about one dead raise effort successfully, while the present government uses the powers of our governance to step on the other who support people them who have an interest in developing a who sport. They want to slap this great endeavor of port tourism out of the hands of the fine stands and the Ashcroft, so that they could have it, as Mr. Ashcroft indicated previously, and we stipulated on one of our previous shows, that they are trying to get their retirement gig in place. Come hell or high water. And we're not talking about puny money, like the money where they work for as a salary and for we government will be the PNA. That's not what they're about, trying to get a salary out of we government. They're trying to use and suborn the powers of our government structure and system for many decades to come, even long after they leave political office. And it seemed to me like too many Belizeans are either oblivious or could care less. And some of them are actually supporting and going along with the process. Why? They don't feel like it affects them. So if these bunch of scoundrels and hyenas and vampires, whatever you want to call them, can subordinate we government to for their economic well-being and for their family members and other colonies' well-being. And when they accomplish that objective, they can move on and leave us to deal with the carcass and pay the bills. As I indicated on other shows before, those bills will be coming. Bills for lawsuit, bills for lawsuit settlement, and all the others that are in the pipe right now being worked on. Not a penny will come out of Mr. Briceño's pocket, out of any of his companies, or his colleagues, or any member of cabinet, or any of the members that would probably vote for what he's now trying to propose, because he got caught with the first effort that he tried to do. Now he has burned enough of them in cabinet to the point where he feels comfortable enough to come and tell us that he's back on the same wild horse again, trying to make sure he tame this horse so he can get what he wants done with it at our expense. These guys don't care about Belize and Belizeans. What part of that we people can't understand, I don't know. And it seems like these politicians are of the impression that because they have the governance power in their pocket, that is an immunity card for them. They fail to understand that those kind of behavior are the behavior of revolution. Those are the kind of behavior that people take the law into their hands. Then talk about street justice and about the crimes that the criminals are committing in the country. When you subordinate one whole country, you should expect some backlash. And not just only tongue lashing and only talking or hard talking. What these guys are doing to our people is the equivalent of sending enough of them into modern slavery, and some of them, because of the stresses and the issues that they have to deal with with the life and the lifestyle that they have to live with, will end up in their graves earlier than they need to be. So for all intents and purposes, these guys are a bunch of murderers themselves, or aid and abet the circumstance on which people lose their life earlier than they should go. As far as I'm concerned, they're contemptuous criminals. All because I only money, I only extra something on the side. Why is our Prime Minister going to come and tell us that they have been working out things behind the scene? Of course, like I always tell them, we knew that from before, which is why I was telling them that everybody know their business at cabinet. But they don't listen. And they could care less what anybody else is saying, much less where to tell them. Because at the end of the day, they want to do what they want to do. But like I told him before, there are consequences to be had. Not only me say it, that is not only my phrase. Our education minister just used that same phrase as regards to the teachers. There will be consequences to be had. But you see, as ministers of government and people who are supposedly have an immunity card by virtue of having the control of our governance structure, they don't expect that there's any consequence to be had by them for their misconduct. Because as far as they're concerned, they're untouchable. Bunch of fools, I will call them. Bunch of fools. I have a lot more to say, Mr. Chairman.
Right. Thank
But
you. Thank you.
I'll defer for right now.
You know, I mean,
yield back.
you know, we all saw from the conception of how that whole protocol deal started, and you know, we had talked about, like you said, Leonard.
It is not going to end well.
And like you says, when all the lawsuits and all the money to be paid out, it's not going to come out of Mr. Briseno pocket, nor the PUP pocket, nor none of his gasoline station is going to close down because of that. You know, he's not going to take money from his gasoline station that's all over this country to pay the lawsuits, right? It's the people, the taxpayers' money will have to pay, all these lawsuits. And these guys don't give a hoot, right? Because this guy already says from the inception, yeah, they will redo that, but it will happen anyway. He said it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we know they talk nothing for up in a spacer, right? I always say, yes, like Greg said, they always tell on themselves, right? Mm-hmm. And guys, my people, when I call this man a liar, outright lying to the people, outrightly, with no face, with no remorse, with no, right? What kind of a leader does that? What kind of a leader does that to his people and nation? and continuously, right? And it's only come from me. You could play all his clips and see what I'm talking about, right? So, damn, and if you all you fanatics, right, who think that this man is God, who think that this PUP and UDP party are the best thing that ever happened to Belize, guy, what is wrong with you now? Right? When will you wake up? And again, who is suffer? You think the PUP ministers is suffer? No, we all feed them good with steak, best liquor, best everything. They don't give a hoot. All they come with their pony little face again next 2 years and ask for your vote again. And all our supporter and cronies will elect them again. What is wrong with you? Turn around and look. There will be no more beliefs for your grandkids or your children. You're all gone, right? Instead of they put all this energy that they're putting out there for their own personal greed to create employment. Which one of them create any damn employment in this country? Name me one of them. Build a factory, right? It's poverty. But no, this man have the face of brass, and this is what irks me. From 5% unemployment the other day, he went to 2 or 3. What it was, Greg? 2.3 or
2.8.
2.8. Next before. No, my come on.
Oh,
No,
man.
his next conference is going to 1%. The next press conference here of unemployment is going to 1%. So I mean, this is what, you know. I'm not trying to, you know, but I'm just trying to be real. I'm just trying to be real. You know, so when we get on this podium here, when we come to the nation and the world and call these suckers out for who they are who they are. What, I cannot say the man is a good man. I see nothing he had done good. If he had have done something good, create some employment, get the graduates some jobs that's out there, what he call that, you know, have to call state emergency on these people, create some employment so they don't have to sell weed, right? They don't have to subject themselves to other illegal activities. What the hell you think? New job, you have kids to feed, you have, you know, bills to pay. What the hell you think these people is going to do, man? Create some damn employment for the poor and it's fortunate in this country. Then I could say you're a good man. And you, Mr. PUP minister, you are all good people, right? And I will call you out for who you are. If you're scoundrels, crooks, and imposters, I will see who you are. Am I afraid to say that? No. Because it's real, it is what it is. Create some employment in this country, man. Get people off the poverty line, right? The same way you could gather huddle your team players in the house and pass these ludicrous famine on this country and on the poor people. Pass a lot quick one and create some employment, right? Equip the healthcare system. Badly needed. Why you can't do that in a one day? Why? Why it's so damn hard to do that? Right? Come on, man. I mean, this, you know, I mean, you'll hate me and you'll love me for who, right? But I just call it like it is, right? They're all a bunch of
Mr.
crooks.
Chairman.
Go ahead,
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Go ahead, Greg.
Let me burst some bubbles and get real so the people at home and abroad could understand what our present government is doing. This present government is willing to pass legislation for Belize to get $6 million a year from this big tourism corporation that will destroy our wildlife habitat. And let me say this in all earnesty. something they do not have to do. And I will tell you why. So the people could sleep tonight and think on it. Brad's Bolido. They were getting 2 million, right? They took it away with 7 years left that they will have to pay him. But look at the financial gain. Brad's Bolido was bringing in $50 million a year. So why is the government not pushing that will bring in $50 million a year to the Belizean economy, that will not destroy our wildlife habitat? There will be no drilling, there will be no tax exempt, nothing, giving away concession to foreign entity. So
And look
let's
at the
talk
nice
reality.
Greg, look at the nice commercial he made with the Lee Black Boy and saying, or Bolido coming back, and the Bolido they going to NHI and all the profit going into to help the hospital. Where it is. Now Brads is waiting for his money, Brads is waiting for his money, Mr. Briseño, and I know for sure it's not going to come out your pocket. My people and nation, Brad, because Briseño broke a contract from Brads. Broke this man contract, so what the hell you think he's going to do? He got to pay this man. Not him, then the people.
Well said, Mr. Chairman. But, Mr. Chairman, the question to the people is this. If Brad's gaming was bringing $50 million a year, with government only getting $2 million, and they're taking over now with access to gain $50 million without destroying our wildlife habitat and our seafront, what is the reluctance for them to proceed with that instead of giving away concession and tax-free and stamp duty to foreign entity? It's not ringing a bell. It cannot ring a bell, because you will give that away for only $6 million a year when you have the gaming company that will bring in $50 million without spoiling our habitat.
It's all about who is getting what. It's all about who is getting what.
Go ahead, Leonard.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I'm repeating. It is all about who is getting what. Out of the Brads, they are not intending to get no money for themselves, other than for the government. Out of the Portico, because it is his baby, as I keep contending when I refer to this matter in the past and even now, it is all about who is getting what. And while they may not be getting any money out of the Brad's Bolido thing for themselves, they expect to get some money out of this thing that they are going to get $5 million for the government, and among themselves they will be able to share much more than that. This tourism thing is a big money-making operation. For example,
Ashcroft Price couldn't have said it better, right, Leonard? And he couldn't have said retirement gig.
It's big money involved.
Retirement.
And they're not getting any of the Brad's Bolido money to themselves, as much as they will be able to get if they can swindle us, the Belizean people, subordinate free laws, and then again, to start with, they're about to embark on another journey where they are going to get sued and they will lose the case because, first of all, it is unconstitutional what they're trying to do. It is unconstitutional.
Amen to that.
They will have to wait for a court to tell them that, for them to realize that, or for them to acknowledge that, okay,
they know, Leonard.
They know ahead of time.
They know that, right? But they just want to play it out there. Yeah, they're playing with it.
Like I told them before, at every step of the way, we will have the Constitution hang around their neck as an albatross. They don't have to believe it. They just have to go ahead and experience it. Because going forward, that is the paradigm that we're dealing with. We're not playing no shenanigans game with these knucklehead pirates, modern day pirates. We are not playing no games with them. And the sooner they get to realize that, the better off we country and be. Because
Right,
it's not a struggle between them and us, or about us and them. It is about our country. And when it comes to the territorial integrity of my country and the well-being of my people, I am no respecter of person or entity.
Same here.
No governor general, no queen, no future president, no attorney general, no minister of whatever. None of them, as far as I'm concerned.
Guys,
Am I going to allow to walk over we country as they had been doing before, without consequences to be had? Remember Mr. Mann's statement? There will be consequences.
guys,
They haven't seen the consequences yet, so they don't believe and know or are certain that there are consequences to be had. They are going to
Well,
wait
it
until the
shouldn't
consequences
be.
are had, and then they will say, well, they
There,
never
there,
knew that consequences was to be had. By then it will be too late.
go ahead, Greg.
well, I don't think they have memory lapse to forget they had agreements, right? And the consequences, you know? But guys, let me say this, right? I believe the government is hell bent on an agenda that we hear not one, not two, all ministers. As soon as anyone joins in at this party, you hear the language change. And to prove that, because I always say they tell on themselves, let me go to this clip. And I want you to hear it clearly for yourself.
Security detail and compensation weren't the only issues that have been recently raised by the Crown Councils. According to reports, the Crown Councils are also upset with the government of Belize for hiring 3 foreign junior legal assistants. While hiring junior legal assistants is not uncommon, the gripe that the Crown Councils have is that despite the junior assistants being less qualified, they will be getting more pay. According to the Attorney General, those decisions are decided by the Judicial and Legal Services Commission.
And as you well know, we are in a climate where there's constitutional reform, and so it's important for citizens to appreciate constitution and the separation of powers. So issues relating to employment of judicial and legal officers, their terms of conditions, that is done by the Judicial and Legal Services Commission. I think I saw in the news last night the President, Mr. Marshall Lexina, also spoke to that. So the government, the executive, the cabinet cannot get involved in that. So the GLSC, they make their decision. Somebody feels aggrieved or whatever, there is a process in which the decision of the GLSC can be addressed, but it's not for the government, or the government cannot intervene with respect to once a decision has been taken.
Hey, Denise here. Thanks for checking out our Facebook page. Be sure to click the like.
Gentlemen, no, you heard that? You heard what he mentioned? Constitution reform, right? I will show you how disrespectful the present government is to our present constitution. And I'm saying this because they are going around with third parties and trying to teach people about their fundamental rights. But listen when it comes to government and the Constitution. I want you to hear it.
So why is the government flouting the referendum law when in regard to Oceana's petition with 22,000 signatures? You last told a reporter you were seeking legal advice, which is cause for great concern because you are the legal advice.
the government is not flouting the referendum law.
It gives no room for delay, though, sir.
But you asked the question, allow me to respond. The government is not flouting the government is not flouting the referendum law. Yes, so the Attorney General's ministry is the chief legal advisor. So the Attorney General, myself, I don't necessarily sit and draft all opinions. So within the Attorney General's ministry, there are crowns who would research and advise on these matters. I would review their advice, and if the advice is what, having regard to my own research, then based on that, then we provide the advice. But let me say this: Oceana and the government, we are in discussion.
But the law makes no provision for legal advice. The law does not say if you don't want to do it in 6 weeks, seek legal advice. The law is unequivocal, sir. You are finding a shading of meaning when it suits you, but the law is absolute. It says you shall act in such a way.
Well, this is why the government seeks my legal advice, Jules, and that's your interpretation. But respectfully.
But is there an equivocation in the law that it allows you to seek legal counsel? Does it say that? Does it say you have time to review by the government's lawyer?
What I will say is this: the lawyers for Oceana and the government, we are in discussion. We don't want to prejudice any discussion that is taking place, but I do believe that within the next week or so, Cabinet hasn't, well, today would have been Cabinet. Cabinet will meet next week. I had a meeting with the lawyer for Oceana, Mrs. Jacqueline Marshall, Senior Counsel, on Friday. We'll receive some indication as it relates to a way forward, a proposal. Well, in turn, that will be submitted for Cabinet. So next week, we'll be able to give some definitive answer as it relates to that.
But you guys are frustrating a democratic process.
No, we are not. We are having a discussion. We are having negotiations with Oceana.
But the law doesn't make provision for that. Either you certify the signatures or you decertify them. Where are you all finding the room to do all of this background negotiation? I'm saying either the law is an ass or it is obeyed.
That is your interpretation, and respectfully, we disagree. The government disagrees.
But I'm reading the law, sir. You are reading from some other book, from the executive playbook of how we do things.
No, Jules. Respectfully, you read the law. You've interpreted the law. There are different laws at play here, and the Referendum Act and the People's Constitution Act. So, as you will appreciate, the People's Constitution Act also speaks to a referendum, and a referendum after the whole consultation process with respect to the Constitution. Again, I don't want to prejudice any particular discussion or that we are having at Oceana, but suffice it to say that there is an interplay. There's a between both the People's Constitution Act and the Referendum Act. There may be difference of opinions as it relates to how the interplay actually operates. If indeed there is an interplay, you take a firm position that, well, there is no interplay. But yeah, but and this is the beauty about the law. The law does.
This is the beauty for lawyers. This is what you all love. But you're now breaking the law to create an impression that there's space for negotiation.
With respect, I strongly reject that, and you cannot seriously be suggesting as such. But I accept and I appreciate, the vigor in which you may approach this matter, given your interpretation of the law. But we'll have to disagree on this matter.
Wow.
Gentlemen,
Learned man.
let me hear you on that.
Guys,
as I said before,
I don't know liar, my brother, right?
Man.
But how you incorporate the Referendum Act and the Constitution, how you put that together? A total two different things they happen there, right? Total two different things. And Jules, the read out what the law says. So he said, well, maybe Jews interpret no in a one way and he interpret no in a... No is no. That's what he's... just for a layman, I said, I don't know, attorney.
The
right?
gentleman is acting like an idiot, when in fact he's our attorney general.
Well, again, you
Most
know, you have to
recently
know who put that
appointed.
gentleman there, right? So,
Man,
Did I
mean,
not
come
say,
on.
as educated as one may be, that does not make them educated enough to run a country? You put a
No,
dummy
guys.
in a dummy position that don't know
No,
the law, which is the Constitution.
no,
Mr.
guys.
Chairman,
The same
Mr. Chairman,
referendum. Go
yeah,
ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead.
I know this
Leonard.
gentleman, and I'm definitely sure this gentleman is capable of better than what he just delivered on those 2 clips. It is my suspicion then, as a result, that this gentleman is acting out of character, as well as trying to do a con job on behalf of his client. Of course, then again, we go back to him acting like a lawyer who works on behalf of their client. So if his client is trying to sell food down country, lock, stock, and barrel down the drain, he don't have no patriotism bones inside of him to the point where he will rely on his internal fortitude and strength of character and person, as we all supposedly know him to be capable of being.
See what Fonseca did when he was Attorney General and his party was in power. You see what he did? He facilitated the Musa administration all along. Facilitated them. So what difference is this guy going to bring to the table that is appointed by the People's United Party? What difference? Right? So this is what is lacking in our country. Right? This is the
Mr. Chairman, he understands his assignments. Do you remember that those wordings coming out of the Prime Minister's mouth? That Mr. Jerosovic did not understand his assignment. You see how idiotic and stupid and
Greg says they tell on themselves.
Or disrespect you guys or the public.
They are telling on themselves, Mr. Chairman. You know why? You call them dumb, dumber, and dumbest. Because here it is. You, the government, trying to teach the people their fundamental rights. When you are bashing the Constitution, not standing up for what the Constitution said, when you and your ministers took an oath to the Constitution, come on, and let me prove that to you, because it is not funny. This is unreal. Let's listen to this.
I don't think it's a matter of willfully ignoring it, but we felt that since we already have the People's Constitutional Commission ongoing right now, that would be the best place to be able to address it through the PCC, since they were asking even for the amendment of the Constitution. So we felt that it would have been best to do that. But what we've done as a compromise with them, we're working on an amendment, basically, as what we did with the marijuana issue, that whenever, should the day come that we want to do any kind of exploration in the sea or the ocean, it depends how, which way they want to take, that then we will then have a referendum. I've not seen the exact wording, but pretty much that's what the Attorney General just briefly shared with me, and I think probably next cabinet next week, he will then bring the actual proposal and the wording.
Is this a rule of law issue, though? Because I know your government, on the side, Musa is the one who first implemented this referendum legislation, and the law does not make a provision for a review, as you all are doing, and make we look point another way. The law says within X number of days, a referendum is triggered if the signatures are certified. You all are playing with the law, it would appear.
Absolutely not. It just so happened that at this moment, we have appointed by law, voted in National Assembly, the People's Constitutional Commission. And so we felt, why go through that? Why spend millions of dollars in a referendum when the People's Constitutional Commission, the commission is going around countrywide, getting recommendations from the different groups of people, different communities, and I hope that within a year's time, I think they have probably at least another 6 months they can come up with a bunch of recommendations to myself as the Prime Minister as to the way going forward. So I think it was just the opportune time. It's just a matter of timing, and that this is happening at the same time. Obviously, if the PCC was not in effect at that moment, then the law is the law. We'll probably have to go ahead with the referendum.
Wow.
Mr.
Wow.
Chairman,
Let me just
people,
say this first. Let me just say this. Like I said, I'm no liar, no, right? You guys are more moral than me, man. So if
This idiot kills me, man.
my
kills
people,
me.
no, let me on the real side, you know. So say Greg, so if we have garnered 20,000
man.
signatures to recall this guy, to have him not fit to run our country, and they would have done the same thing with our 20,000 signature. 20. So my people, you have no say in your country here. We have no say. This man just said it, and the system just proved it, right? And more so when they turn Belize into a republic, right? And that's their main objective right here in this whole all kind of thing you're sitting they do.
We think it's bad right now, Mr. Chairman, or
Okay.
it's scary right now. It's not as scary as it's going to be.
Go ahead,
but
Greg.
what is it proving? It's proving to the people at home and abroad the way how these individuals are speaking is they know for sure it will be done. Because if you listen to what he said, we will hold back and do our amendment because the PCC is in motion, which is non-binding. They have no legal authority to pass no law or change nothing.
Just let me get this off my chest. Let me get this off my chest. Just 1 minute, guy. Give me 1 minute.
Yes, sir.
These guys have no respect for the rule of law, right? These guys are supreme, right? Not lately. The court passed. I just want to say right? And just to open up the people's mind and of what we are talking about. The court has ruled that redistricting should have been completed by July. You see where we at? Do these countries give a hoot about, because they have a mission?
Stalling for time.
Right? No, this guy just mentioned within a year time. This guy used again within a year time. His party, he will still have super majority within a year time. So everything that they are doing will have to come to a neck within a year time, right? Before the next general election, we will see the real intention of Bresenio and the People's United Party. And I say this, and I have been saying it, they are the gross violators of our constitution in this country. They are the gross violators.
Well said.
Right?
Well said.
The fanatics would take it anywhere they want to take it. The law in this country is only good for the elected leaders, and for man like me and you and the poor and less fortunate, we'll always get that bukut. And the bukut is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I don't know who does not see that in this country. I for sure see it. Right? It's plain to be seen. And yet these guys gonna say they are patriot, they love this country, they will come back and tell you in 3 months, 4 months for next election, oh, they love you. They love you. Take it away there. Take it away there, Leonard. Go ahead, Leonard.
I should not laureate myself to the level of these asinine idiots, okay? But I find myself in a situation where it's highly improbable or unlikely that I'm able to stay above the fray and keep my cool and be respectful of myself, the program, you gentlemen as my colleagues on the show, and the listening audience, much less these bamboozling clowns The man can't even talk and make one couple sentences in a row cohesively without lying.
That's my point.
How the hell he want to attribute to the PCC any authority or vested powers of governance or legal standings in terms of taking on court matters or matters that deserve to go to court and be able to render any decision or resolution of any of those matters? Why is he intimating that the PCC has any authority to decipher and or to make any kind of comments or ruling on any current laws? Whatever is it that the PCC is indulging in and will conclude at some point in the future on will not have any effect of law until the cabinet look at it, put it into a drafted form of legal documentation, pass it in the House of Representatives, get it assented to by the governor, have a referendum on it, have it being put into the Gazette, and then becoming a part of whatever legal process they can achieve at that point. How many steps have I classified or clarified just now that needs to go on before anything that the PCC is doing has any effect of law? How many stages did I classify or clarify or explain just now? Why is this idiot thinking that all of us out here as Belizeans, under his jurisdiction as our Prime Minister, have to stomach the kind of disrespectful craziness that he is spewing out of his mouth?
And
what's wrong with this guy?
I like to say this, right? This guy
is he that ignorant and ignoramus at that?
This guy, like I said, he put all his ducks in rows, guys. This chairman of the Constitution Committee, that chairman who was appointed by Brisena, who is a PUP crony, right? He will compile everything and he will take it. He said back to him, back to Brisena after all this, and it will be done within a year because they don't want general election come find them. They consult the people, right? And that a lie again. He said everybody is being consulted. The word everybody. Everybody, I say all from the Nick and back of the woods and all the people for all his little village. That man said it, which is an outright lie. Right?
The man is running competition. The man is running competition for somebody else in this country of the United States.
Mr. Chairman, you know what I find out?
I guess he's trying to
and I will,
all a big show. All a big show like everything else. All a big show for TV, for the news media, for all a big show. And for the outside world, the venom that they have been spitting out there, which is not reality in the ground. Right?
I agree with you.
Who gets we are supposed to respect him? Here's the
right, like I say, right?
Our intelligence that you said we not have in the first place, of course.
Yeah.
But then,
like I say, guys,
to be respected.
Guys, right? We are not hypocrites. We are not stupid people. At least we are not, right? Now, if the man, like I say, if the man say truth, we'll say the man say truth. If they do good, we'll say they do good, right? But everything,
Mr. Chairman, even if the man is making a mistake, because giving credit for making a mistake as a human being, we all are subject to the possibility of making mistakes.
Yes,
but this idiot constantly lie to us and feel like by lying to us, we are being satisfied and accepting his lies.
And the thing that gets me, right, we have our poor people or have the Belizean people who still see that these guys do no wrong.
Well, they don't know the difference. Some of them really don't know the difference.
You know,
Mr. Chairman,
that's what
if I may, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, Greg. Sorry,
Mr. Chairman. I have pointed on every show we have, every platform, every step, what these guys would do. I have missed nothing. I can point out again now. If you listen to Mr. Osha, who is teaching the fundamental rights to the people, how he sound, who needs teaching. If you listen to the Attorney General, you will see that they are all in the same bag and they keep telling on themselves. You listen to it
Constitution
from Mr.
reform.
Ferguson,
Constitution
Minister Ferguson, months
reform.
ago when he was down south. He
Mhm.
said to the people at the water
Okay.
board, come April of 2024, the law will change because of constitution reform. So they
Constitution
were spilling it
reform.
They have an
from
agenda.
then. And I keep telling it to you, they have an agenda. No,
Mhm.
Mr. Chairman, let's go to another section of
Yeah,
why they
yeah.
keep telling on themselves.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
play
Let's
this.
play that. Yeah.
Okay? I want you to listen to this so the people can see everything that we bring on Belizean affair that should be educational also has to do with the government who is violating the constitution they took an oath to in a gross way with no respect at all. Let's hear this.
The Guatemalans turned over the flag. They knew that they could not keep the flag. They turned over the flag to our embassy. I had protested to the ambassador here verbally, and then we followed it up with a written protest. Listen to me. We are insistent that there be a SARS-2 protocol. So far, we have not been able to convince the Guatemalans. Prime Minister Briceño and I had a meeting with the Secretary General of the OAS last week when we were in Washington, and earlier this week, when we were in Washington, and stressed the need for a SARS-2 protocol. I will be meeting the Foreign Minister next week in Peru, in the margins of the OAS General Assembly, and he knows that we'll be putting on the agenda a SARS-2 protocol. We need to avoid these incidents. Whether we succeed, we'll see. But with respect to the flag, they did not give any resistance in turning over the flag. We demanded the flag. They delivered it to the embassy. The embassy made arrangements for it to be brought to Belize.
Not handed over yet, Joel?
It's not. Well, I don't think it's been handed over, but it's here.
Why did Belize not find it important for the Prime Minister to reference that actual incident at the UN General Assembly speech?
Well, we would have had to reference a lot of other things. There are a lot of other incursions, a lot of other issues that we have to deal with, and we have to measure the place and how far we go on these issues. We took that into consideration and decided that that was not the place. We made a forceful presentation, the Prime Minister made a forceful presentation to the OAS Secretary General, which I won't go into the details, but it has produced some results already. Sometimes you have to do diplomacy quietly, sometimes you do it publicly, and it's a balancing act.
And is that why also you decided not to state publicly that a protest note had been sent?
We did state publicly that a protest note had been sent.
In a press release or how? Because I didn't see a press release.
Only one person asked me, and I responded.
No, Mr. Chairman,
Slickster.
the reason I
Slickster.
play that clip, is to specify what I have been saying all along. The government is failing at external policy. The government is failing at internal policy with no direction as to how to solve them. And I will show you why, Mr. Chairman. Listen to this.
That we welcome. Having said that, we have concerns. We have not seen the resolution, but the information that we have picked up is that it may not go far enough. And if it tries to go far enough, it will be vetoed. And therefore, we are concerned with what the language will be in the resolution if adopted by the Security Council. There are a number of countries who are prepared to send troops subject to an appropriately worded UN Security Council resolution. And therefore, if the resolution is not strong enough, there are some countries that may not participate, who are willing to participate. Our latest information is that Kenya has informed the Security Council, as well as some member states, that their original plan will not work, which was to send in troops to defend certain installations, to free up the Haitian National Police to engage with the gangs. They have, after being on the ground, determined that that will not work. Far more troops are necessary to engage with gangs. As you can imagine, that is a very different thing from going in and adopting a defensive posture to sending troops from your country to go and engage with gang members in Haiti. For its part, CARICOM has appointed an eminent persons group that is led by 3 former prime ministers, Prime Minister Golding, Prime Minister Christie, and Prime Minister Anthony from St. Lucia, Bahamas, and Jamaica. And they have become somewhat frustrated in their last statement about the inflexibility of the actors in Haiti to compromise, to even try to move this process forward. And the intention, of course, is to stabilize the situation so that elections can be held for a legitimate government. But their most recent visit to Haiti, they signal their high level of frustration at the inflexibility of the state actors in Haiti, so that does not conduce well to any country in CARICOM wanting to send in troops at the appropriate time. From Belize's perspective, let me say the position is as follows. 1, Prime Minister Belizean has said that Belize is prepared to send security forces in a number that is to be determined once the mission is defined. 2, once we have absolute clarity on command and control. 3, once we know what the exit plan.
Bull crap. Baloney.
Now, Mr. Chairman, if our troops, if you hear our foreign minister saying they are demanding a flag from Guatemala, and our troops was not there to protect our citizens, which they should have been doing under national security, why would our troops be going to Haiti when they cannot even protect our borders? I want to hear you guys on that.
Make a jump in on that, Mr. Chairman, if you don't
Go
mind.
ahead, Leonard. Yeah, go ahead, Leonard.
I beg for this opportunity because I chomp on it.
Yes, go ahead, my brother.
In the first instance, it's not because our government cannot and should not be doing what is right on behalf of our country as regards to dealing with the Guatemalans and the Sarstoon issue. The Guatemalans at the Sarstoon are only there and behaving the way they behave because they feel like their attitude and actions is such that we fear them and we don't want to have an encounter with them. So therefore, they will push us as far and as fast as they feel like they need to in order to deter us from being able to exercise any authority or control over our area of jurisdiction. It's just a game being played. And the Guatemalans are playing it better than the Belizeans. Because the Guatemalans would not come into Belize area if they knew that Belize, as a government and as a people and the security forces, would stand in their way. Because that would mean that they would have to do so with brute force. They don't want to start no brute force, nothing with us, even though they know that they have a bigger army than us and they have other capacities that is, to our disadvantage. That is not what the ploy on the game is all about. It's one of intimidation and taken over by osmosis, intimidate you to the point that you not show up, and then all they do is just hang around and control. For all intents and purposes, there is nothing that we can do to take back lands that you cede to these people. So our objective should not be to cede no lands to nobody, or no territory to nobody. If they want to come and take it by force, let them make up their mind that they're going to use force. Because they know that whenever they make that decision and they make that move, there will be a counter force, and they will be accountable for their initiating any kind of conduct as such. The Guatemalans have 30 times we population. They have a much massive army compared to what we have. They know the numbers. They know our capabilities. So it's not like they fear us. What they're trying to do is instill fear in us. And if we coward leaders are not capable of recognizing those realities, all they want to make sure is that they are out of harm's way and our soldiers and people are out of harm's way, which is why they're prepared and have created statutory instruments as violation of our constitution to stop our people from going up there. And they don't let the military, our military go up there, which is why the Guatemalan soldier could say, "On the military name come here anymore," because this is a free territory, this is a Guatemalan territory. We want to do ya, want to get off our land or get off our territory. They're not stupid. They're playing the game and playing the cards correctly. Because once we cede and stop going up there and allow them to get control and keep control of that place as they're attempting to do right now, it is just like we have ceded that section of our territory to them. And as far as I'm concerned, there are people in both parties of our country, the mass parties them, that have been willing to go along with that Guatemalan perspective or attitude. We have seen it played out before. But yet the territorial volunteers are the ones that are being blamed for going to we territory to show up, just to show up and to let them people understand and know that we as a people
take 2 more minutes on your closing there, Leonard. Take
Yes, sir,
2 more minutes. Yeah, take 2 more minutes on your closing.
So for all intents and purposes, okay, for all intents and purposes, our government need to stop the play shenanigans, stop the play games, stop the play hide and seek, stop to do things behind the scene, claim that they do what they not do, and stop to not do what they need to do.
Mute your mic there a little bit, Greg.
So my concern is that we present government, when they got elected, the first thing the Prime Minister did was took himself and his wife and the rest of his entourage and ran over to Guatemala. Within a few days' time, gang a hobnob and had party over there with them people. Gang and genuflect to the Guatemalan president. That was his first move. He never even gone to Mexico, gang and genuflect to the Mexican government, or to go and ask the Mexican government to, continue being a Fuicana and continue looking out for us. If it wasn't because of the Mexican government in 1979, we country may get invaded, that the Mexicans then sung the alarm. So instead of we keep good relations with the people and where they look out for we and where they try to help we, with the snub we nose at them, and then we turn around and try go have relations with somebody we don't want to see we, much they have anything to do with we. All they want that we learn. What part of that for we people don't understand? And then they keep voting these same traitors into office over and over and over. They refuse to see the light of day and do anything that will help the situation. So these guys just continue doing it to us. But anyhow,
thank you.
Enough of that right now, sir. There are more things that I want to talk to or speak.
Time is up for against us.
Mr. Chairman, could you give me 2 minutes? I need to read this thing out of the Constitution quickly. You don't take too long. Uh,
We have 7 more minutes.
yes, sir. Just I'll just ask for 2 minutes. I don't know if I'll use the whole two because I don't want to
Okay.
comment on it. I just want to read it
Okay.
to let people understand that what these people are doing in the government is pretending to be following the Constitution and the preamble, because the preamble
Go
commands the
ahead.
government to
Yeah, go
follow
ahead.
certain
Yeah,
things.
go ahead. Go ahead, Dan. Go
And
ahead.
this is what they're hiding behind, but they are not genuine in their effort. Belize's Constitution preamble, as stated in paragraph E, requires policies of state which protects and safeguards the unity, freedom, sovereignty, and territorial integrity of Belize, which, and it goes on to say which and which and which and which of quite a few times. I don't want to deal with all the other which issues it's talking about at that point. So I just did the three dot
Mhm.
thing and moved on to try and get to the part at the end of that paragraph that I really want to sound off on. And then it goes on to say, which promote international peace, security, and cooperation among nations, the establishment of a just and equitable international economic and social order in the world, with respect for international law and treaty obligations in the dealing among nations. So we have it in our constitution that tells these gentlemen that as far as the Haiti issue is concerned, we don't have an out. We are committed to, by virtue of treaties, to help these people in their situation. But we government is not telling us, the people of Belize, what they need to be telling us. They are allowing the people to have their own speculations. They could have just, Mr. Courtney, as a lawyer himself, could have just as well mounted some of this same thing here in response to what the people were questioning him about, because it authorizes them here to follow those policies. Those are policies of government that is required by the Constitution by virtue of our commitment. We have a commitment with CARICOM. Haiti is part of CARICOM. But yet when the Haitian people, they come to Belize, then try to drive them out because their skin too black. When the Jamaicans then come to Belize and try to drive them out, even though they have a right to come there because their skin too black. But we don't send back no Mexican, we don't send back no Guatemalans, we don't send back Honduranians, Salvadorians, or any other Latin American people. As a matter of fact, we welcome them in with open arms, and we take subordinated money, less than what it costs to deal with them, and we, the government, have to provide the rest of the money to accommodate them.
Thank
And
you.
that is all right. It's all right one side, but it's not all right on the other side.
Thank you.
That's my
Thank
view.
you. Thank you, Leonard. Thank you for that, input there. Greg, you have 3 minutes to your closing there, my brother.
Mr. Chairman, the issue I have with it, if we cannot trust these people with our national security and the SARS tune, how can we trust them at the ICJ?
That is the point.
Because when you
Well
listen to
stated.
them speak, they are speaking in tongues like
They are traitors.
parables. They're
They are
saying
treasonous
one
and
thing
traitors.
and doing the other thing, which is obnoxious to what we, the people, would like done. And if you give me the privilege, Mr. Chairman, I will try to prove it right here, right quick.
Those areas that were cleared along the border are extremely remote. Very few people live there. And what our security forces are finding is non-cooperation and frustration when they go on exercises to these areas, which signals to us that the residents in those areas have been bought over. It is the beginning of the penetration by cartels into Belize. If it is not addressed now, look around the Americas to countries who are attempting to fight the endemic influence of the cartels. I repeat, this is an international fight. For us to eradicate it requires cooperation. Cooperation with our international partners, and I will say specifically, the government of Guatemala.
Mr. Chairman, did you hear that? If you are demanding your flag and complaining to the UN, and now you will turn around with all that you had set forth with the Sarsoon issue, and now you will simply go talk to your Guatemalan partner. How ludicrous is
I'll
that?
step away, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, it's great. Leonard.
You see what I'm saying, Mr. Chairman? It makes no sense to me. None whatsoever. And I will turn it back to you, Mr. Chairman, so you can elaborate for the closing.
Well, I want to say, a special thank you to all those who tune in to us tonight and our supporters, both at home and abroad. Those who have been with us, throughout our inception, right? Throughout our programs, right? Faithfully tune in and support us. I want to say a special thank you, for your support, your loyal support from the heart, on behalf of myself and Leonard, and Miss Spitz, I want to say thank you. And I hope that what we brought to the table tonight, has opened up your eyes a little bit more and your ears a little bit more, and a little bit more knowledge of what's going on in our country. I'm not going to go into what we have talked about, but we have brought it out again because we have been bringing this thing out. We have been elaborating about some of the same issues, and I just hope that the Belizean people are waking up, and seeing the ills of this two-party system, what they are doing to us, and what they continue to do to us. And I'm sending a special message to Mr. Courtney. Rudy Wade, thought that we had a Sarsoon protocol already, right? But he says there is none. But I am of the opinion that we have had a protocol already, unless if it changes, right? But he said none.
Quickly, Mr. Chairman, on that point, would you give 20 seconds?
Go ahead.
Our previous Foreign Minister, Mr. Sedi Elwinton, apparently was trying to get a protocol going in that area. Something was written up. I don't know if it was agreed to, but the Guatemalans then keep on saying to we BDF people that there is a protocol and that they, the Belize BDF, have to abide by that protocol and stop coming over on their side, which means that whether it was signed or agreed to, and what was actually agreed to, apparently Mr. Courtney is not aware of. Or maybe Mr. Courtney is correct, and what we were told before may be wrong, because the previous foreign minister was trying to give Senedity a bad name.
Exactly.
By virtue of some of the things that he was said. But my point is that Mr. Courtney is talking like he just found out that drug dealers are using our country for land planes and for hiding drug. For decades in the land planes, and when the plane get land and destroyed, the drugs disappear, and it disappear right in the same communities around where part the plane land. That's it.
Like I say, yes.
But just to find out that,
not too long ago they went for $90,000 to fight some stuff there. Pretty much of the same thing he's talking about, right? And look who is going first. People is going to Guatemala for for help. No, and just listen to these guys,
It's a
right?
scandal. It's a
Right? Just
scandal.
listen to these guys. And like I say, I call on this government, stop lying to the people. It's time to come clean now. It's time to come clean because at some point, not too long from now, you will have to come clean, right? It will come to a bump that you will have to come clean to the Belizean people. So the best time to do it is now, right? And stop the
Nice program,
lying.
Mr. Chairman. Nice program, Greg. Thank you
And
guys
I
very much.
call
Thank you, guys.
on the government to do better in terms of, our healthcare situation and employment in this country, right? Need to do better on what we're doing. People are suffering, for it's high noon. Do better. And on that note, I want to say good night and thank you guys. And it's a pleasure to be back sitting with you guys. Thank you guys.
We thank you too, Mr. Wade.
The public is invited for Friday to deal with some of these matters constitutionally as
Again.
well.
Exactly.
Good night. Bye.
Good night.